The following is a Fight Club presentation. In the end, Canelo Álvarez got his man. After weeks of stop-start negotiations, boxing's biggest superstar, Saúl Canelo Álvarez, returns on November the 6th against undefeated IBF world champion Caleb Sweet Hands Plant in a historical matchup that will produce the very first undisputed world champion at super middleweight. In recent times, being named the pound-for-pound #1 was viewed as the ultimate status symbol, especially when fighters such as Julio Cesar Chavez, Pernell Whitaker, Roy Jones Jr., Floyd Mayweather, and Manny Pacquiao held that crown for years on end. But because that designation is so heavily dependent on public opinion, which is rarely unanimous, it seems the current pound-for-pound king, Canelo, is going after the classic definition of boxing greatness: undisputed champion.
And it is over! A one shot from Canelo Álvarez! Oh my! And he's gone! Canelo! And referee Joe Cortez intervenes. He's seen enough.
His legs are not there. This time, I don't think he's getting up.
A big shot landed by the Mexican fighter. And it is over.
And surely it's going to stop the fight. What a performance by Canelo Álvarez.
That should do it.
It's over. His head movement has been brilliant in the last couple of fights.
This is fantastic defense.
Canelo Álvarez gets the knockout. He's so desperately praying.
This is the kind of story you watch boxing for. This was an amazing fight with an even more spectacular finish.
While the relentless endeavor for Undisputed has been admirable from the Mexican hailing out of Guadalajara, the journey itself, up until Plant, has been smooth sailing.
Hard cutting right hand again. And a body shot from Canelo trying to close the show.
On December 19th of last year, Alvarez rolled to an easy one-sided decision over then undefeated world champion Callum Smith to win the Ring Championship, Smith's WBA title, and the vacant WBC belt.
Canelo Álvarez with the look of a three-division world champion.
Part of the deal for the fight was the stipulation that the winner would next make a WBC mandatory defense against Avni Yildirim, which Alvarez did on February 27th, blowing him out, as expected, in the third round.
And 1-2 and down goes Yildirim.
In Canelo's last bout, he met then undefeated world champion and tricky southpaw Billy Joe Saunders in a super middleweight title unification showdown for 3 of the 4 major world titles. It should have been a difficult fight. After all, Saunders was a good fighter who had formidable victories over former world champions such as heavy hitters David Lemieux and Andy Lee.
For Lee, I think he needs to double jab his way in.
Oh, great right hand. Great right hand from Saunders. Whoa, what a punch.
Canelo simply viewed the fight as the next logical step in an effort to become undisputed. So, when Alvarez literally broke Saunders' face and forced trainer Mark Tibbs to throw in the towel with Saunders on the stool following the 8th round, there was only a short-lived and mild in-ring celebration.
And it is over! They have stopped the fight!
Alvarez's bout with Saunders was his 3rd fight in 5 months, an unheard-of level of activity in this era for an elite boxer. But he took each of them with a singular purpose in mind. Now, all that's left for the Ring WBA, WBC, WBO champion is IBF title holder Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant is a 21-0 undefeated world champion, and from the outside, it would appear the rich, talented, well-spoken American has everything going for him. And yet, in reality, he's lost more than most fighters could ever comprehend. Plant grew up in a small town called Ashland City, Tennessee, and started boxing at the age of 9. Through succeeding in his amateur career, he eventually escaped the clutches of poverty, criminality, and substance abuse, which surrounded him in his local community. Caleb's mother, Beth Plant, had a substance dependency problem, and his family endured poverty like many in the town. As a teen, Plant even found himself dealing drugs for his mother. Boxing was his way out.
This boxing has been like a sanctuary for me. No matter who I used to be, that poor kid that no one would want to be, when I stepped into the gym, I got to be the kid that everybody did want to be.
Father Richie Plant constructed a shoddy gym in the hope of providing his son with the conditions to one day achieve a better life. The boxing ring was marked out by tape on the ground, and it was here where Caleb, now 28, first honed his skills. As he came toward the end of his impressive amateur career, in which he had been a reserve for the USA's 2012 Olympic team, Plant fathered a baby girl, Alia. However, the 20-year-old and his 19-year-old partner at the time, Carmen Jean Briscoe Lee, were soon devastated by the news that she was fighting for her life. This sequence continued for Plant as he ended his amateur career and turned professional with Al Heyman's PBC. Carmen had to leave her jobs to care for Alia 24/7, so Caleb's income was vital. He started on his professional journey in May 2014, just after Alia's first birthday. Having built his record to 5-0, Plant was off to a good start and scheduled to have his 6th fight at the end of January 2015. Tragically though, Alia could not hang on any longer. Remarkably, Plant was back in the ring just 5 weeks later, vowing to fight on and fulfill the world title promise he had made to his daughter before she died. It took another 4 years, but in January 2019, his shot at glory finally arrived. Rugged Venezuelan Jose Uzcategui was the IBF super middleweight champion, fresh off an impressive victory over Andre Durrell. Plant was an underdog going into the bout, but stunned odds makers by flooring Uzcategui in the 2nd round.
This the problem. Down. Oh, good shot.
He repeated this feat in round 4, and, despite being staggered himself in the 9th, battled through to the final bell. When the scorecards were read out, Plant was declared the winner by unanimous decision and new super middleweight champion of the world.
And the new IBF super middleweight champion of the world, Caleb Sweetheart.
He dropped to his knees and sobbed profusely, letting out what appeared to be several years of suppressed emotion. Days later, he posted a picture to Instagram of him lying his world title belt on Alia's grave. Although the grief will, of course, never leave the bereaved father, this appeared to be a moment of peace for him, having fulfilled his vow. Sadly, this peace did not last long. Little over a month later, his mother Beth was in an ambulance being transported to emergency medical services for mental health concerns. While in the vehicle, she became combative towards medical staff and withdrew a knife from her backpack. They pulled over and called the police. When a deputy arrived on the scene, she brandished the knife at him and moved in his direction. According to the police report, the deputy screamed many times for her to stop and drop it, but she kept coming. The deputy fired his gun at Beth Plant, who subsequently died at Nashville Hospital. She was 51.
Now to justify, the way that my mother was acting, I can't do that.
Plant was heartbroken once more, but used boxing as his escapism, and again did not take long before returning to the ring.
18 months. And he goes down again. That was a great right hand.
With Plant successfully defending his belt on the Manny Pacquiao versus Keith Thurman undercard just 4 months later.
Caleb Plant remains unbeaten at 19-0 as he stops Mike Lee in round 3.
If there's one thing to take away from Plant's incredible life journey, it's that on November the 6th, Plant will be facing one of boxing's most devastating champions in recent memory. But, unlike others, he won't be afraid. How can he be scared of another man when he has already done the unthinkable? What can Canelo possibly do to cause Plant more pain than pulling the plug on his 19-month-old daughter's life support? Plant has already fulfilled his promise to Alia by becoming world champion and made his mother Beth proud. But he continues to fight on in search of ultimate glory, which is now in touching distance. On November the 6th, the journey for Undisputed at super middleweight finally reaches its climax. Canelo Álvarez will look to add another historic achievement to an already legendary career in his endeavor to become the greatest Mexican fighter of all time, while his American counterpart will seek to pull off one of the biggest upsets of the year. The stakes are high, and while most would crumble under the pressure, Saul Alvarez and Caleb Plant are not ordinary men. These are two special fighters, deserving of fighting under such historic circumstances.